Hey, good afternoon. My name is Sherry Sutphin, and I'm the Seminole County Magistrate. We're going to go ahead and get started. So the way that this works, we don't call cases that are in order based on the agenda. So if you do have the agenda, we call based on who comes first and signs in first. So that's how we'll be hearing the cases today. And the way that the process will work, the county will go first, they will present their case, and then you will have an opportunity to go next and present any witnesses or evidence that you have. I will make a decision here today related to whether there has been a violation. If there has been a violation, you will generally be given a number of days to come into compliance, and if not, a fine will be imposed here today. If that will be triggered if you don't come into compliance by the time that is given to you. We will, it's pretty informal. So I'd like you to be able to ask questions if you have them. I want to make sure that you understand everything that is being done and that you leave here fully understanding what has occurred. So I know sometimes it's a little intimidating to be in this setting, but I really want you to feel that you can ask questions if you have them. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And the first case that we're going to call is Maria Bonilla, 2287 CESM. If you'll come up, please. You swear in.
Thank you.
And anyone who's going to provide testimony, I need to swear you in, okay? You'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank
Yes. Okay. Ready to do it? Yep. Okay. For the record, Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request it be entered into record. Case number 2287, CESM for the property located at 9709 Bear Lake Road, Apopka, which is owned by Maria Bonilla. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, interior alteration to non-residential structure constructed without the required permits.
Do you have any objection to the information that's in front of you that you've received being entered into the record?
Oh, no.
Okay. It's accepted.
Thank you. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows that Maria Bonilla is the record owner of the property. This next one is a photograph showing the posting of the notice of hearing for today's hearing on the property. The next photograph is the single shed with a build-out interior from 3/26/18. That's the photograph of the actual violation. This is another photograph of the violation as well. And then there is another one here from 4/6/22 from the single build-out. Another one of 4/6/22. Okay, and same one with 4/6/22 as well. We continue until we get to 6/28/22. Another photograph of the violation in question here. Then one of 9/7/22 of 9709 Bear Lake Road, single shed with build-out interior of 9/7/22. Same one for the next slide. And the next slide is showing 12/21/22, the single shed with build-out interior. Next slide again of 12/21/22 of the interior of the shed. This is a screen that shows the application was received on 2/10/22 for case number 222211, shown in red. The scope of work for this permit is to convert the existing shed into a living space and will correct the violation once issued. The permit application of 2219-084 submitted on 11/9/22 was originally submitted to the demo of the interior to bring the space back to the storage only. This demo was never completed as the interior build-out of the structure is still existing. The permit application will be closed upon issuance of the permit of 22-2211. This is actually a copy of the permit application that was submitted for 22-2211, submitted on February the 10th of 22. The permit has not been issued due to the required zoning corrections. The E-plan workflow for this application was stopped in March due to 180 days of inactivity. This permit application may be restarted upon the request of a new permit application and may be submitted. This next slide is the after plan review by planning and development application, which needs to be approved for a variance or special exception in order to keep that structure. The variance application was submitted on 8/2 of 23 for project number 2381. The variance request is scheduled for the Board of Adjustment hearing on 9/25 of 23. Due to the variance application submitted on 8/2 of 23, the building official recommends additional time in order to complete the application process. This concludes my presentation. Sorry.
Okay, so let me ask, if additional time is given, is there, they still need to reapply for the building permit, or will that just be
They'll have to continue with the application for the permitting process.
But do they need to, I think you had said previously that they needed to reapply for their
Correct.
building permit? So
Correct.
they would still need to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to finalizing the variance?
Yes, ma'am.
Process as well?
That is correct.
Okay. Can either of you, if you'll, before you speak, you'll state your name for the record, please?
Ese nombre.
María E. Bonilla.
Okay,
And Bill Martinez.
okay. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I just want to, like, a quick summary. Like, when she purchased the house, she wasn't aware of the code violation. So once she received it, she hired an architect who supposedly said I could bring it to permit, like a living area. And he wasn't doing his job. And then when we came to a hearing here, I think it was last year, November, December, we just decided it was easier just to take it in our own hands and convert it back to a shed. He never told us there was, like, many steps that is basically impossible. So now we're doing it by owner, converting it back to a shed. So when we used the survey that was provided when we purchased, the survey was totally wrong, and it took us an extra month for them to do it again, and it was still wrong because the measurements were wrong for the variance. We applied like for the side and the rear back. So one was approved and one wasn't. So we reapplied again like a week ago, 2 weeks ago for a new variance, but with a new survey. And then we're doing the process again. We're just going with what they tell us here, basically.
Okay, so if I were to give you 90 additional days, so the fines would still be in place, so the order would still stand as existing, but with the extension of 90 days, that will enable you to go through the process. If you go through that process, you finalize the variance, and you get a new building permit, so you've got to keep up with that application process. If you do all of that and you complete it within the 90 days, then you would not have fines. But if, and I'm pretty certain you should be able to finalize everything within 90 days if you keep moving forward. If you do not, of a causing of your own, then that could cause you to have the fines. But if something occurs, again, that is not caused by you all, and you need additional time, certainly that could be something that is considered. But I don't want you to think that giving you additional time now, that you can just come back and get additional time again, and that's going to keep happening. Certainly things happen, and that's understood. But if I give you 90 days additional time, can you assure me that you're going to move forward with completing the process?
We want to say yes.
Okay.
I know, because the permitting, they're just waiting again for the variance to be approved again, and the electrical plan and whatever's after that. I don't know if they're going to ask for us any demolish inside or...
Well, you will have to renew the permit, the building permit, because it did expire.
Okay.
So you need to get that application back in and renewed and do whatever you need to do to complete that as well.
That works, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then I will give you 90 additional days, and I think that that will be all that's needed for you to come into compliance.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you. Okay, we're done.
Yep.
Sir, I saw you come in a little late. If you have not gotten with the county, you might want to do that to let them know that you're here and if you're associated with a case. Thank you. The next case that we're going to call is Lena Della Russa Trust, 2350 CESM.
Well, she's the owner of the trust.
Okay. September.
Right.
No, that's,
Just various pictures of the same thing, essentially.
Yeah, we're going to need to talk after.
okay. For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, building inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered into record. Case number 2350 CESM is for the property located at 3232 Briar Way, which is owned by Lena Della Russo Trust. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is installation of a wood fencing to include perimeter and fenced-in back porch area, black metal fencing and gate, masonry wall with the white columns, and a shed without the required permits. The initial inspection, it shows, was dated on 1/11/23. Notice to respondent went out on 2/3 of 23. Compliance date and extension was given of 4/18 of 23. These are multiple follow-up site visits that we've also done, and also via computer. The results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website, shows Lena Della Russo Trust is the record owner of the property. This is a slide of the photograph showing the posting of the notice for the hearing of this property done on 7/31 of 23. This is a picture of the fence and the shed that was taken on 1/13 of 23. This one here shows a photograph of the masonry walls and columns with the black metal fencing that was done on 1/17 of 23. And also one of the fence that was done on 1/17 of 23 as well. The next slide is a photograph again of the masonry walls and column and black metal fencing that was taken on 4/4 of 23. This is a photograph of the door knocker left, or the door hanger left on the front gate on 4/4 of '23. Also, we've got another slide of the shed and the fence taken on 4/25 of '23. And then again of the masonry wall and columns and black metal fencing on 4/25 of '23. Next slide show the pictures of the violations in question on 7/12/23. The shed, the fencing, wall, and columns taken on 8/9 of '23 as well. This is an aerial image dated back to 1/16 of '11. The next few slides are aerial images showing the progression of the alterations constructed on the property from 2011 to 2023. The image from 1/16/11 shows the brickwork surrounding the paver walkway is not original to the house. The area was landscaped and only the paver walkway existed. The image from 12 of 22/20 shows the shed. The columns appear between 12/22 of '20 and 1/31 of '22. The masonry work is attached to the house by the garage and loops around to the front patio area. The next images were dated from 1/31 of '22 through 1/2 of '23. Shows the front yard fencing, columns, and shed. And then again, the next aerials from 1/2 of '23 repeat comment from the previous slide. The images from 1/31/22 and 1/2 of '23 show the front yard fencing, columns, and sheds. This screen shows an application that was received on 3/29 of '23 to correct the shed portion of the violation. The application is currently under review and has not been issued as a permit due to ongoing legal determination process to confirm if the owner can proceed with permitting as an owner-builder. No other permit applications have been received or issued to correct the other violations. This is a copy of the application for the shed permit submitted by the owner on 3/29 of '23, currently on hold due to pending legal determination. Next slide is a copy of the Chapter 40, in which they show the violation that they're in charge of. The recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case number 2350 CESM, it is determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 3232 Briar Way, Oviedo, in Seminole County, and has determined by the property appraiser's records in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. And for the correction, that is Apopka, not Oviedo.
Right.
The location. This next slide is further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before October 13th of 2023. In order to correct the violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day that the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Do you have any objection to the documentation being submitted into the record?
No, Your Honor, we don't.
Okay, it will be submitted. Do you have anyone that's going to provide testimony, or are you just going
I
to?
think briefly, no, I understand, but I need you to testify that you're the beneficiary of the trust.
Yeah.
So if you'll go ahead and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And if you'll state your name, please.
Rosemary Brogna.
Okay.
So, Ms. De La Russa Brogna, you're the beneficiary under the De La Russa Trust that's the record owner, correct? And so, under that
Yes.
trust, it's your understanding that you have the right to live there until you pass on, or if you elect to sell the property?
Correct.
Okay. And we're in the process of determining with the county legal department whether that'll allow you to fill out the owner-builder affidavit, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in terms of the shed and the fence, were those pre-existing when you moved in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. So I also have Ed Brogna, who is Rosemary's
My son.
son. And Mr. Brogna can speak, if you wish him to, about, I believe he did construct the patio enclosure with the brickwork and
The front,
the fencing
yeah.
in the front. But the other two issues, the shed and the fence were there when they moved into the property.
Correct.
The shed, I purchased the shed.
Oh, you did the shed, yeah.
Right, and I gave him.
Oh,
my
wait.
second
If you're going to give
Sorry.
testimony, I need you to come up.
Yeah.
Do you want me to
Come.
have him sit here?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
And if you could state your name, please, and I will indicate for the record that you were sworn.
Yes.
Okay.
My name is Edward Brogna.
Okay,
I'm the son of Rosemary Brogna.
okay.
The shed was purchased by me. I submitted the correct paperwork at the time when she did the application. I have the 2 copies. And I guess that was supposed to be turned in for permitting once you purchased the shed. I didn't know that. But they do have a copy of the proper paperwork.
Okay. So you understand that regardless of whether you moved in without items being permitted, that they still, it's your responsibility to make sure that the items on your property are permitted?
Well, the fencing around the property itself has been there for multiple years before my grandmother passed away. She passed away in 2010. This was done by my uncle Bob Delarusso, and the company he had do it was Smith Fence. And this was done possibly, I believe, per paperwork, was around like 2005, maybe a little bit later than that.
And you still have to have permits?
Yeah, we contacted the fence company, and they didn't return phone calls? Is
They
that-
did not return my calls, correct.
So, because we were trying to find out if they had any information about a permit, but regardless of whether they do or don't, we're happy to get, once the owner-builder is approved, which hopefully will happen soon, then we'll correct the owner-builder, we'll submit the owner-builder affidavit, correct the permit to include all 3 items, the fence, the shed, and the masonry and wrought iron, and then we should be in a position to have that all inspected and resolve this.
So the county is asking for compliance by October 13th. Do you have any reason to believe that October 13th would not be a doable time period?
Yeah, roughly 2 months. I mean, if we could have 3 months, Your Honor, I'd appreciate it. I just don't know. My client does have, and I don't know to what extent he needs to submit plans for the newer, for the work that he did with the masonry
Correct.
and the
Yeah.
wrought iron. We can provide those if they're needed.
Yeah, the architectural design is not a problem there.
So if that's not a problem, I think that the county, in giving the roughly 60 days that they've given, did you take that into consideration, the types of things that he would have to submit
Yes,
in
ma'am.
order to get the permit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
My understanding is also, too, they could have a contractor just submit for the permits.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, the issue there is that it's more expensive. But
Yeah,
yes.
Very
And again-
expensive.
All right, that's fine, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and order that I'm going to find that you have been properly noticed to be here today, that you have a full understanding of the violation that exists of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, related to your failure to obtain building permits for the 3 specified items, the masonry work, the shed, and the fence, and that you're going to obtain permits for those 3 items by October 13th, 2023, or a fine in the amount of $50 a day thereafter will be imposed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And if for some reason if they reject Ms. Brogna and we need additional time for the trustee in Boston to sign the affidavit, we can contact the building department and explain that.
Yes, you would contact the clerk, and
Right.
she would certainly get you back on the
Right.
agenda so that we could
Thank you, Your Honor.
discuss that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's no one else here for the other cases? You guys are good to call them in order from... You guys good to call them in order from...
Sure.
Okay, all right. So our next case will be 2348 CESM RB Highlight LLC.
Okay, where's mine? Oh. Okay. Thank you. Okay. For the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request that it be entered into record. Case number 2348 CESM is for the property located at 6405 South US Highway 1792 in Fern Park, which is owned by RB Highlight LLC. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is interior renovations, including but not limited to removing ceiling tiles, electrical work, removal of wall coverings, and change of use without the required permits. This next slide shows the case summary as follows. Initial inspection was done on 3/10 of 21. Notice went out to the respondent the following day on 3/11 of 21, given a compliance date of 8/28/22. Follow-up visit site inspections were that show above there, which are 4/21/23 and 8/9 of 23. Follow-up inspections via computer were multiple times. Result of the inspections, a violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows that RB Highlight LLC is the record owner of the property. This is a photograph showing the posting of the notice of this hearing for the property that was done on 7/31 of 23. The next several slides show photographs of 3/10 of 21 of the interior renovations. Again, 3/10 of 21, the following here. And they continue right on through. Okay, the next slide that we have was taken on 8/9 of 23. This shows the exterior containing the violations due to no access. Again, on 8/9 of 23, photographs taken for the exterior of the structure containing the violations due to no access. This is a copy of the permitting screen. To correct the violations here, we've got permit number 216541, which is circled in red, is a permit application for commercial alterations that is currently in our plan check status, pending corrections from addressing, planning, and development, building, electrical, fire, mechanical, and plumbing. This permit is a result in excuse me here. This permit may result in compliance once issued. This is a copy here that I brought along with me of all their corrections of multiple pages that they've resubmitted just recently.
And when did they resubmit those?
That was on 7/17 that they resubmitted those. Copy of the application that was done on 4/13 of 21 originally. Plan review corrections were most recently submitted to the applicant, sent back to them on 8/2 of 23. This shows a copy of Chapter 40 in which they are in violation of. The next slide shows the recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2348 CESM. It is determined that the respondent is the owner of the record of the property located at 6405 South US Highway 1792, Fern Park, in Seminole County, and is determined by the property appraiser's records in possession or control of the property, and the violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before October 13th of 2023. In order to correct the violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Did you want to submit the case file into the record?
I can, yes.
Okay. So prior to the July submission, had they had any contact with you all whatsoever?
No, ma'am.
So from the 2021 permit application, no contact, and then when you started to move forward with the code case is when they sent in revisions?
Correct.
Okay.
Their attorneys met with our attorneys to go over some legal issues, I guess it was, and then they pushed the information forward. It was suggested by a plans reviewer, the original plans that were submitted, that they just completely wash them and start over with new plans, which is what they submitted on 7/17 of '23.
Had there been conversations between their legal counsel and your legal counsel in that interim period?
No, ma'am, not until the very end.
Okay. I'm going to find that the respondent, RB Highlight LLC, was properly noticed to be here today. However, they are not present. I'm going to find that they are in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. And I'm going to order that they correct the violations for failure to obtain the necessary permits by October 13th, 2023. And if they have not done so, I'm imposing a fine of $150 a day for the failure to comply thereafter. Okay, the next case we'll call 2353 CESM, Aran Rodriguez Santos and Mandy Reyes.
Would you like me to begin?
Yes, please.
Okay. For the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered into record. Case number 2353 CESM is for the property located at 3021 Freedom Trail, Oviedo, which is owned by Erlen Rodriguez Santos and Mandy Reyes Hernandez. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The following description is the installation of fencing, including columns and 2 gates, paver driveway, courtyard, including sets of exterior stairs, wooden accessory structure, pole barn addition, drywall, and demolition of a mobile home without the required permits. This next slide shows case summary as follows. The initial inspection was done on 1/24 of '23. Notice went out to the respondent on 3/7 of '23, given a compliance date of 4/24 of '23. Follow-up inspections as shown both on site and via computer. The results of the reinspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot showing the property appraiser's website that Erlen Rodriguez Santos and Mandy Reyes Hernandez are the record owners of the property. This is a photograph showing the posting of the notice for this hearing that was done on the property on 7/31 of '23. This is a picture of the fence violation that was taken on 1/24 of '23. This is also another picture of violations that were taken on 1/24 of '23 of the columns that were installed with electricity and light and a gate as well. This next slide is that was taken on 2/28 of '23, shows an addition with exterior stairway and a paver courtyard on 2/28 of '23. This next slide was taken on 2/28 of '23 that shows an addition of exterior stairways, again, courtyard, and then the door hanger that was left on the property on 2/28 of '23. This was a picture of an unsecured pool that was up, that we had to actually go out and secure the pool area at one point in time that was done. This picture was taken on 2/28 of '23. This is another photo that was left on 4/10 of '23 of another door hanger to reach out to the inspector. This is a picture of the structure in the photo permitted under 126732 that is addressed 3019 Freedom Trail, and also the pavers that surround the back area where the pool deck is as well, that was done on 410 of 23. This is a photo of the actual pole barn accessory structure and the pavers shown in 12/8 of 22. This is where the mobile home was supposedly setting at one point in time. That was demolished. An accessory structure and paver courtyard was added on 12/8 of 22. This is a photo or a slide that was done on 5/12 of 23 of a final letter and notice of violation posted on property due to return mail from the post office that was dated on 5/12 of 23. This is also one that was done on 8/9 of 23. The photograph shows violations that still are remaining there and also new building material on the job site as well. And again, on 8/9 of 23, the different violations that are out there. Photograph shows violation remains on 8/9 of 23 of the fence line that's out there currently. This is a copy of the permitting screen that shows the application was received on 6/8 of 23 to correct the fence violation. This application is currently approved and it's in approved status awaiting payment of $352.50. And these other ones are for permits for a full house repipe and new sewer. They're currently in plan check status. Pending applicant corrections, and again, on a permit for 234475 issued for the window replacement. This is a copy of the application that was received on 6/8 of 23 awaiting payment. Next slide shows a copy of Chapter 40 of which they are in violation of. And then the next slide is a recommendation based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 2353 CESM. It is determined that the respondents are the owners of the record property located at 3021 Freedom Trail, Oviedo in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. This next slide. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before October 13th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, I will accept your case file into the record as requested. I'm going to find that Berlin, Rodriguez Santos, and Mandy Reyes Hernandez are the record owners and were properly noticed to be here today, however, are not present. I'm going to find that there is evidence of a violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, and order that the violations be corrected by October 13th, 2023, obtaining the necessary permits for all of the various matters that have been stated, and I'm going to order that a fine of $50 a day be imposed if the permits are not received by October 13th, 2023. Are you ready for the next?
I am. Which one?
Okay.
Is it?
2354 CESM, Justin and Elizabeth Recca.
Okay, for the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered into record. Case number 2354 CESM is for the property located at 122 Lake Minnie Drive, Sanford, which is owned by Justin and Elizabeth Recca. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation: it's a repipe of a water supply cabinet placement with fixture relocation, relocation of electrical and electrical outlets, and relocation of a bathroom fixtures without the required permits. This next slide, case summary as follows. The initial inspection was done on 3/10 of '23. Notice went out to the respondent on the same day, given a compliance date of 5/8 of '23. Follow-up inspections as shown both on site and via computer. Results of the reinspection, the violations remain on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows that Justin and Elizabeth Recca are the record owners of the property. This next slide is a photograph showing the posting of the notice for this hearing that was done on the property on 7/31 of '23. This next slide is the front of the house with door hangers that were taken on 3/21 of '23 as well. And again on 3/21/23 as well. This is also a picture of the drain pipe that was taken on 3/21 of '23. This is a photo of the door hanger that was taken on 3/21 of '23. Photos of the door hangers on the windows that were taken on 4/21 of '23. Photo of the door hanger taken on 5/31 of '23 as well. Photo again of the drain pipe on 5/31 of '23. And multiple door hangers that have been left on the property as of 5/31 of '23. This slide shows the violation remains on 8/9 of '23. This is a picture of the permitting screen that shows no permits applied for or issued to correct the violation. Permit number 22-10942, residential alterations were voided out per the contractor, VE Builders. Permit number 22-9686, residential alterations were voided due to exceeding a 12-day upload period. Permit number 217083, residential alterations voided per contractor, Encore. The next slide shows the copy of the Chapter 40 in which they are in violation of. This is the recommendation slide. Based on the testimony and the evidence presented in case number 2354 CESM, it is determined that the respondents are the owners of the record of the property located at 122 Lake Minnie Drive, Sanford, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before October 13th of 2023. In order to correct the violations, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and accept the case file into the record. Explain to me with respect to the building permit slide, there were permits that were applied for, but then they were...
Originally, this came about from a voided permit from the contractor because of the work that was extensively done inside the structure that he didn't do.
Okay, and so he was trying to correct after the fact, but then...
Correct.
Okay, and then pulled back on it.
Yes, and said, we
Okay.
did not do this work in here. We don't want to be associated with it.
Have you had any contact with...
None.
I'm going to find that Justin and Elizabeth Recca are the record owners. They've been properly noticed to be here today, but that they are not present, that they are in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, for failure to obtain the necessary permits. I'm going to order that they come into compliance by October 13th, 2023, or incur a fine of $150 a day. Okay, you ready?
Okay. For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered into the record. Case number 2355 CESM is for the property located at 2211 Broadway, Sanford, which is Street, Sanford, which is owned by Emmanuel Hillary. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is a demolition of a structure without the required permits. The slide here shows the case summary as follows. Initial inspection was done on 3/14 of '23. Notice went out to the respondent the same day, given a compliance date of 5/8 of '23. Follow-up inspections as shown both on-site and via computer. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows that Emmanuel Hillary is the record owner of the property. This is a slide showing that the property was posted for notice of hearing here for 7/31 of '23. This is a photograph that was taken on 2/4 of '20 of the photograph structure that existed on the property on 2/4 of '20. This is a photograph that was taken 3/9 of '23 showing the demolition of the structure without a permit. And again, slides that were taken on 4/24, also on 5/31 as well, showing the demolition remains on the property. Photograph taken again on 8/9 of '23, showing the demolition remains. This is a picture or a slide of the screen, the permitting screen that shows no applications have been applied for a permit to correct this violation. This is a copy of Chapter 40 in which they're in violation of. It is recommended, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2355 CESM, that is determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 2211 Broadway, Sanford in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before October 13th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after noncompliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
And there was absolutely no
No.
contact whatsoever. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and accept the file into the record as evidence. I'm going to find that Emmanuel Hillary is the respondent and was properly noticed to be here today. However, he is not present. I'm going to find that a violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 exists on the property, and that he is provided until October 13th, 2023 to obtain the necessary permits for the cited violation, or he will incur a fine of $150 a day. And, okay.
Next slide is going to be for 2357 CESM, Lance and Leon Allen and Jeffrey Jenkins. Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered into record for case number 2357 CESM that's located at 323 Salina Drive, Altamont Springs, which is owned by Lance and Leon Allen, Jeffrey Jenkins. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is installation of new windows, fencing, roofing, multiple sheds with electric without the required permits. This is a slide that shows the case summary as follows. Initial inspection was done on 2/6 of '23. Notice went out to the respondent on 2/17 of '23, given a compliance date of 6/9 of '23. Follow-up inspections have shown both site and via computer. Results of the reinspection, the violations remain on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows that Lance and Leon Allen and Jeffrey Jenkins are the record owners of the property. This is a photograph or slide showing the posting of the notice that was done for the hearing that was done on the property on 7/31 of '23. This first slide is from 1/11/23 from Seminole County Sheriff's Office, the shed that was taken on this date on 1/11/23 from Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Next one that was done also on 1/11/23 of the shed with the electric taken. Next slide again is from 1/11/23 from the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. And again from 1/11/23 from Seminole County Sheriff's Office. And again from 1/11/23. This is a slide that was done on 3/27/23 of new roofing that was being installed or has been installed. This also, we've got a picture of new fencing that was taken on 3/27/23 as well. Here on 4/25, while following up with inspections, we see new windows have been installed on 4/25/23. And again, of the new windows. And then we've got a picture of the shed that is in the back here from 4/25/23. And again, going to 6/14/23 on this slide, the new windows that were taken. Violation at this point on 8/9/23 still remains on the property. The next slide. Again. And this is a screen that shows no permits have been applied for or issued to correct any of the violations. Permit number 0313540 was issued for adding 3 rooms, moving a bath and adding a bath, which was done in 2003, which does not affect our violation. This is a slide that shows the copy of the Chapter 40 in which they're in violation of. The recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2357 CESM, it is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 323 Salina Drive, Altamont Springs in Seminole County, is determined by the property appraiser's records in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before October 13th of 2023. In order to correct the violations, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
I'm going to go ahead and accept the case file into the record as evidence. Has there been any contact whatsoever?
No, ma'am.
With these property owners?
Alan did call my office today.
Do you want to provide testimony? If so, I'm going to need to swear you in. Let me go ahead and do that. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, if you'll state your name into the microphone and,
Ms. Pat Hughes, clerk to the enforcement office.
okay.
Mr. Allen did call my office today to ask for a continuance due to a death in his family. I advised him that I could not provide that. I did give him the building department's number to contact them in regards to the violations.
Did Mr. Allen contact you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and order that Lance and Leon Allen and Jeffrey Jenkins are the record property owners, and they have been provided with sufficient notice to be here today. However, none of the 3 of them are present. I'm going to find that they are in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. And order that they bring the property into compliance by obtaining the required permits by October 13th, 2023, or have a fine imposed of up to $150 a day. Thank you.
Next slide is going to be 2358 CESM. Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered in for record. Case number 2358 CESM is for property located at 1004 Oak Lane, Apopka, which is owned by Sean Rodney and Glenroy Spencer. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is demolition of a structure without the required permits. This is a slide that shows a case summary as follows. The initial inspection was done on 2/17 of '23. Notice went out to the respondent on 2/20 of '23, given a compliance date of 5/31 of '23. Follow-up inspections, as shown both via site and computer. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows that Sean Rodney and Glenroy Spencer are the record owners of the property. This is a slide showing the photograph of the posting of the notice of the hearing that was done on the property on 1/31 of '23. This is a slide that was done on 2/17 of '23 of the demolition of the home and the stop work orders that have been posted on the property. Again, on 2/17 of '23, photos of the demolition. And then we've got on 2/17 of '23 a photograph of the stop work order and notice of violation dated on that such date of 2/17 of '23. This is a slide of 5/15 of '23 of the demo of the home, and again on 5/15 of '23 as well. And again, we've got a slide that shows the home that was demoed on 6/13 of '23. And then a final letter with notice of violation posted due to the returned first-class mail dated on 5/23 of '23. And then again on 8/9 of '23 for the violation of the demolished home that remains. This is a screen that shot of the permitting system that shows no permits have been applied for to correct the violation. There's a permit 21-18354 for adding on the second story, install new roof, plumbing, HVAC, electrical entry porch. This permit does not cover the scope of work for the violation. This shows the copy of the Chapter 40 in which they're in violation of. The recommendation, based on the testimony and the evidence presented in case number 2358 CESM, is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 1004 Oak Lane, Apopka, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before October 13th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
I'm going to go ahead and accept the case file into the record as requested. So was there a full structure here at one time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because the only reason I'm questioning is because then one of the photos shows that there are some concrete blocks, so it looks like maybe they were building something back?
I don't know on that part right there.
Okay, and do we know when the structure existed as a whole structure previously?
I don't believe we have a copy of when that was. A stop work order came in from probably one of the staff members out there working, one of the inspectors. Let's see the records. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, let me see here. Let me see. Okay, on 2/28 of '23, we received a phone call from a project manager. States that they're working towards compliance and are experiencing delays due to septic health department paperwork that is currently in progress. Tearing down a demo of a single-family residence without the proper permits. And I'm not seeing anything in here in regards to when that structure was. Okay.
There is, I have in what case file is this part of?
This is the case file that's submitted to my office.
Okay, so the case file does include a photo with this same property identification number, January 17th, 2022, showing a full structure.
I see that on the property appraiser's website here. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So, and this, I'm going to accept this photo into evidence as well as part of the case file, showing that the structure did exist in January, on January 17th, 2022, at least, as a full structure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to, have you had any contact with them
No,
at all?
ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and order that Sean Rodney and Glenroy Spencer are the record owners of the property, having been notified to, properly noticed to be here today, and neither are present. I'm going to order that a violation does exist on the property. A violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. I'm going to order that the property be, the necessary permits be obtained by October 13th, 2023, or a fine of $150 a day will be imposed. Okay, so that is all of the cases that we have for today. I'm going to approve the minutes that were provided to me for the last hearing. And confirm that the date for the next hearing is September 14th, 2023. Okay?
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay.